Good evening, race fans, and welcome to another edition of MotorSports Magazine. On tap tonight, in addition to our Street Stocks and Flying Tigers, of course, our late model Sportsman division. This is a special event. The regional series hits Airborne. 100 laps of scheduled distance. Now, besides the winner picking up $2,000 for first place tonight, he or she, we have a female or two here, believe me, he or she will have the opportunity to go to Oxford a little later, $1,000 just to try to qualify. But they could end up sitting on the pole for the very prestigious Oxford 250. Could be one of our local guys. Hey, did you see what would happen? The odds it would open if Buck O'Brien or Bill Fountain sat on pole. Could happen if they pick up the victory tonight. Joining me right now, as he does every week here on Motorsports Magazine, Rob knows it and Rob. It could happen. Buck or Bill could find a way in victory lane. Let's remember, those guys do very good in 100-lap events.
Steve Hayes, one of the most important things that will take place at Airborne has already taken place, and that is the draw for some of these cars when they enter the pits. They draw for position in the heats, and basically how you finish in those heats is going to determine whether or not you make the starting field. And the competition to make that starting field is going to be very keen.
Oh, absolutely. We have all the Carson stars from Airborne, all the top drivers from Thunder Road, and some guys you never heard of before coming from Riverside Speedway. Oh, fair, our guys will go there a couple times this year. There's also a couple of guys here who, though you've never heard of them, are threats. They're in attendance. We'll get to them later in the program, but don't be surprised if someone you never heard of finds their way into victory lane tonight.
You talk about some of the Riverside drivers, and we've seen one of them regularly the last couple of weeks, that being the 83 of Stacy Cahoon. Name to watch for is Randy Potter, driving a car number 02, and Potter has been one of the most consistent runners at Riverside Speedway over the years.
It's funny, I was walking through the pits just before coming up here to the tower to do this opening, and Randy Potter's crew, believe it or not, were worried about tire temperatures. You don't hear about that in this division. They're worried about tire temperatures in practice. So they are really devoted to try to find a win here. But let's remember, those guys from Riverside run a quarter-mile track. Some have ventured to Thunder Road. That's a quarter mile. Did you forget? This is a half-mile, very wide oval, and some of these guys may get lost out there tonight.
That's a good point. Really, it puts the cars who are regulars at Airborne in a distinct advantage over some of those cars that are regulars at Thunder Road or Riverside, where really they have the tight bull ring, and the horsepower doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. Right here, horsepower and handling, that's going to get you a victory.
Absolutely, and if you wanted a very early prediction before qualifying even gets underway, the 86 of Dennis Demers for two reasons. One, he wins here a lot, but two, he is very devoted to the American-Canadian Tour this year. He's really making a run at that division, and of course, you know, I mean, like I said, the winner gets a chance for the pole. He would love to start way up front for that big race.
Demers making his second appearance of the year at Airborne, his first in a late model Sportsman. Of course, his other appearance was at the Spring Green driving his American-Canadian Tour car. He's not the only ACT driver in attendance tonight behind the wheel. One of the crowd favorites, Harmon Beaver Dragon, will also be piloting a late model Sportsman.
Yeah, last couple of weeks, if you've seen that red number 6 of rookie Rodney Weed, well, Rodney turned over the driving duties tonight to Beaver, and you know, the car hasn't shown a great deal out there, but remember, Rodney's a rookie. We're going to see if the car has anything, because with Beaver behind the wheel, with his years of experience, anything that car has, he'll get out of it tonight.
So we're really looking forward to the late model Sportsman action, but they're not the only division on the card this evening. As we're taping this right now, the Flying Tigers are out on track, and we've seen some of the top cars rise quickly to the top of the point standings. 77 of Eric Williams, the 8 of Jason Leo. Mark Lamberton right now sitting 5th, Steve Hayes.
Mark, you know, has had 2 good finishes in the top 5, but as I said in an earlier program, didn't earn them, kind of more or less inherited them with people dropping out. The car has not been set up well. He's out there warming up right now, and I just happened to see the car at turn 1, and it's loose again. So hopefully they'll get that thing all tightened up for their main event.
And another driver from this side of the lake, from Lewis, New York, Eldred Hutchins. Eldred has been very consistent, and that is always the key to Eldred Hutchins' season. Seems as though he rarely has a finish outside of the top 10.
Well, Eldred has a little pressure on him this year because the car he's driving has found its way to victory lane many a times. It's the car that Ron Wesson has used. The year before that, the car that Steve Rennedet used. So Eldred knows that he can't possibly say it's the car that's giving him problems, because the car can get there. Eldred can too. Maybe tonight he'll find his way into victory lane.
Well, last week, 28 street stocks on hand. We expect more of the same this evening.
A lot of street stocks already in the pits, and I'm sure many more will pull in, but Again, with that division, there's no way you pick a winner because usually the leader could be ahead by half a lap and get taken out. So we've seen a couple of cars rise to the occasion, most notably the 91 of Sean Felton, the 92 of Dan Gibbs, and the 77 of Rick Frenier. But those three guys could be someplace out of it by the time the checker flag falls. Who knows?
Here's what's coming up on this evening's program. Right after taping this, we're headed to the pits where we'll speak to some of the drivers who you'll see on the track tonight, get some interviews, their thoughts heading into the big race this evening. As well, you'll see highlights from the late model Sportsman, the heats, the features, the semi-features, as well the Flying Tigers, again, semi-features, heats, and feature, and the street stock. So there's a lot of action coming up on the program. Pull up a favorite chair and sit down and enjoy racing action from Airborne. Rob Knowles and Steve Hayes had to bring you all the action. Interviews are coming up next.
Joining me this week on MotorSports Magazine, one of our top New York competitors in our Flying Tiger division, the driver of the black number 53, Gary Woods. Hey, thanks for joining me, Gary.
Hey,
Well, first things first, Gary, second year here at Airborne, and things haven't changed a whole lot. You got basically the same type setup you had last year, but you learned anything new these first couple of weeks this year?
yeah, a whole lot.
Well, basically with this Tiger division, you had a couple of guys move out, but competition's still pretty tough. Leo, Williams, Lamberton, anyone out there that really looks strong after the first couple of races?
Well, they're all pretty strong out there.
Well, I know you're planning to run basically just Airborne for the 94 season, but I know you'd like to get over to Thunder Road, but I'm sure you've been told by all your other drivers, when you get to Thunder Road, you normally bring home in a basket. A lot of metal get mashed over there.
That's right.
Any other place would you like to move as far as the Tigers? I know that you don't get a chance to run any place else, but of course now the ACT is invading New Hampshire, Groveton, another quarter-mile track. If there was a series set up for this division where you could run similar to the late models, some sort of a tri-track shootout, would that interest you? Maybe if they put up enough money?
Yeah, it would.
Now, let's talk about sponsors. I know you got a couple of sponsors. I don't expect you to remember them all, though. They're not going to like that. Who's some of the people who are helping you out this year?
Plattsburgh Lanes and Zook's Corner Store and Reroute Replacement and North Country Security.
You remembered them all. That's great. Most guys have a problem when I say, can you remember your sponsors, even though they pay the bills. As far as this Fly Tiger division, this is one of the divisions that doesn't normally get a whole lot of rules changes. Of course, every year things change here and there, but is there any one or two things you'd like to see change in this division? Maybe some with the tires, or maybe some you could do with the engines?
Bigger slicks.
Bigger slicks, all right. Now, for all the novices out there, I know what he's going to say here, but explain to some of those fans, if you had a bigger slick on these cars, what would they see out there from the Tigers?
Be faster.
They get through the turns a whole lot quicker. Besides slicks, anything else? Maybe in the engine department? I know you guys are pretty restricted to what you can actually run. You can't monkey around too much, but is there anything you'd like to see change, maybe give you a little advantage?
Yeah, but different heads.
I take it bigger heads?
Yep.
A lot bigger, huh? Kind of figured that. Okay, well, we talked about some of the other tracks that you hopefully could run in the future. A place you don't get to go this year, unfortunately, is Senair. And if you've ever been to Senair fans, you know why they're pretty sad they're not going. A huge track. How would you figure if you had to go to Senair? Is that a track that you think, I know you haven't been up there, it's not a fair question, but is that a track you figure you would have to more or less follow leaders? Is that something you think you could run flat out and get through those turns pretty well?
I don't know. We'd have to go up, try it, see.
All right, in all fairness, I'll ask him a track he knows a little bit more. He obviously knows how to have an Airborne, and he does very well here. If you do get a chance to go over to Thunder Road, a tight quarter mile, like I say, a lot of cars come home in a mess. You got to change the setup a little bit, but it's a track where you always have to stay in the inside groove and you get passed by a lot of cars. Is that something you think you'd be able to do with this car? Get tucked to the inside and just stay there?
Yeah, I think I could.
Anything else you have to change to go over to Thunder Road?
Probably some different gears.
Well, let's talk about the future. Obviously, you've had a couple of years in this division. The money comes through for some sponsorship. How about going to a late model? Would you like that?
They could afford it.
You get to run a lot more tracks, I'll tell you. the biggest difference, what would you say anyone moving into this division, because we've had a couple of street stock guys like Moon Miller from last year moving up. Is there any one piece of advice you could give them? Because it's a lot different than a street stock, but a lot of guys that get in these cars, they say, well, I got to go to the front. You don't have to go to the front necessarily. What piece of advice? Patience?
Patience is a lot of money.
Everything comes back to money. I love it. All right. Well, we mentioned the sponsors. Obviously, they're the guys who pay the bills. If you were to say, not too bad, but if you were to tangle up one of these, say your front end of your 53 machine, nothing too severe, but enough to knock you out, average here, how much does it cost you to repair the front end of that thing?
A lot of bucks to buy all new parts.
Can't get away with the like second-hand parts too easy, can you?
Not in a lot of them, no.
I want to thank him for joining me. He drives a 53 Fly Tiger, Gary Wood from the Empire State. Keep an eye out because he's had some good. Oh, wait a minute. One last question. I can't miss this. You've had some good odds out there. I asked all the drivers this. How about a quick goal for 94? What'd you like to be?
Up front.
I knew he was going to say. Why'd I ask him? Thanks for joining me. Gary Wood, the driver of the 57 Tiger. My guest right now, MotorSports Magazine, our 1993 Airborne Late Model Sportsman champion, the driver that ran number 36, Late Model Sportsman, Scott Carpenter. Welcome to the show again, Scott.
Thank you.
Well, first things first, this guy has a nasty habit of buying all of Steve Miller's cars. See, this is the third year in a row. He went to Steve after the season and bought up his car, but when you win a track championship, you might as well stay with the same formula.
Yeah, it's really worked well for us. He builds a real good car, and we've had super good luck with him, so it's been working, so we're sticking with it.
Yeah, you see, last year we were all wondering because you went into that last race pretty much dead even with Steve, driving his car from the year before, and of course now you're driving that car that you beat. It's getting complicated.
Yeah, it is. But the cars were, they were just so close on any given night, last year. We just had a little luck on our side in the end. We ran consistent all year, and that's what put us in the point battle. And, we had kind of a rough start last year and kind of a rough start so far this year, but hopefully we'll get back on track.
Yeah, a rough start to say the least. Last week of the semi-feature, it's great to make it to a semi-feature. It's not so great when you don't make it to the big feature. That's just what happened to Scott. An accident in front of him in the semi. He ran up into it, and he was done for the night. It's great to make it into that show, but you really want to be in the big show, not that little one.
Yeah, it's nice to get the extra points and stuff for that race, but it's too bad when that kind of stuff happens in the semi because we're all into the main event, and that's basically what you're here for. So hopefully, it won't be quite so rough this week.
Well, a proven champ, obviously, here at Airborne, and you got some invaders tonight. Regional action hits down. Last time I knew there was, I guess, 46 or 47 of these guys in the pits. Obviously, you're used to most of them, but some of these guys from Riverside making their first appearance, they're used to quarter-mile racing. Is that going to bother you getting behind one of those guys?
Well, no, it's definitely going to be a lot faster pace for than what they're used to, on the quarter mile. But it's a pretty wide, pretty fast track, and should be some good racing. If everybody uses their head, it should be a good night.
Well, the luck of the draw is the most crucial thing before the racing started. When you get into the main event, and I'm pretty sure chances are you'll make it to the main event. We're not worried about that right now, but when you start a 100-lap race, of course, where you start makes a difference. Is this something you want to lead earlier, kind of set a pace, maybe wait the last 5 laps, last 10 laps?
Well, you gotta finish your race first before you can win. So you kind of gotta get in there and run as hard as you can, but try to be a little conservative. Excuse me. It's a long race, and if you try to win the thing in the first 20 laps, you're gonna be sitting inside watching.
I'm either going to look real brilliant or real foolish with this question, but as I recall, a couple of years ago with the first 100-lapper, I think he won it, so I'm going to find out right now. Did you win the first 100-lapper here?
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, you know how to get around this track, a half mile. Like you said, it's a bit quicker than some of these guys are used to, which leads me to the next question. You pass them, get to the lead, then you catch them again to lap them. Is that going to start bothering you?
No, there's usually lap traffic on a regular week. It's going to be, you're going to have both hands on wheels and both sides dead ahead tonight. It's going to be a lot of cars and a lot of new guys that aren't used to running here. So that, there might be a few problems, but hopefully everybody will drive within their means and it'll be a good show.
Well, of course, the Grafton guys from New Hampshire will get to return the favor because all these cars here tonight, or at least a majority of them that want to run the regional series in its completion, have to run there as well. Now, I know you're running here every week at Airborne. When Thunder Road opens, you'll catch the regional shows, but you do have to go over to Grafton if you want this regional title. So they're going to have the advantage there with a quarter-mile track. Now, grant you, Thunder Road, yes, it is a quarter mile, but they're not quite the same, are they?
No, Thunder Road's a lot higher bank track. Thunder Road's probably the toughest quarter mile you'll ever try to get a setup for and drive. It's a real fun track if you get the right setup, and Riverside looks like a pretty decent little track to run on, but the guys that run there weekly will definitely have an edge over the guys that aren't there every week.
I think Thunder Road was fast before. It gets quicker this year. They put some new pavement down there. Is that going to bother you when you get on that track with the new pavement?
No, I think it's one of those things that's been a long time coming. I think it'll really be an improvement. It's just been so long, and of course it's really tough on tires, so that should help the guys with the tire bills and should make some good racing.
Well, normally when you get one of these big races, sometimes you like to hook up with another car that's running about the same speed, work your way through together. Anyone here you like to you find that you drive very well behind, or with them behind you, you more or less act as team cars and get to the front?
Well, I don't know. There's quite a few guys. There's a lot of good drivers in this division, and the majority of them you can be pretty comfortable running with on a given night. So hard to really say any particular team, but sometimes you do end up somewhat working together, but you never know until you're out there what's going to happen. So.
Well, the winner tonight gets that chance to go to Oxford, and of course, with the qualifier on spot tonight on tap as well, a chance to run for the pole. What would it mean to Carpenter Racing to be sitting on the pole of the 1994 Oxford 250?
Well, we'd really like to be there. We got to get through tonight first, and we don't, at this point, don't have a motor program to run the 250. But if we were able to, fortunate enough to win tonight, maybe we could try to do something about that. Who knows?
Well, $2,000 to win tonight, cut in a little bit of that chunk for that motor program.
It would certainly be a help.
I want to thank my guest for joining me, and watch for this guy because he is a serious threat to win this qualifier tonight. The driver of the number 36, the red and yellow striped 36 late model Sportsman, our defending track champion in this division, Scott Carpenter. Thanks for joining me, Scott.
Thank you.
Joining me right now, MotorSports Magazine, in a very comfortable position with a pleasant change. The driver of the red, white, and blue number 9 late model Sportsman, and the guy who watched tonight. He is definitely a contender to pick up the victory in the $2,000. Danny Bridges. Hey, thanks for joining me, Dan.
Well, thank you for coming over.
Well, first things first, a big race on tap tonight. Obviously, this is a track that you are very well familiar with. But you got some invaders from Riverside that don't know this track too well, a lot bigger. Is that going to worry you out there?
Well, I'm a little bit concerned about any newcomers, but it seems to be going good tonight. So we'll just take what dishes out for us.
Well, with the regional series really kicking off tonight, it's nothing new for this. He plans to run any place they're running. He's going to be this year. He has a full schedule for Thunder Road, Riverside, and Airborne set up. And okay, we know you know Airborne. We know you know Thunder Road because you've done very well there. Riverside, a little bit of a wrinkle there. That's where these invaders are going to have the advantage on you.
Well, I raced one race over there last year, and I liked the track. I didn't drive my car. I drove a borrowed car. I had a little bad luck, but I ran good when I was running.
Well, you ran Riverside, which is a quarter-mile track. Thunder Road with a new pavement, a quarter-mile track, but they're not the same quarter-mile. A lot of difference between them.
Oh yeah, Thunder Road is a track all by itself.
What do you think about the paving this year? You think that's going to be an improvement, or do you think it's going to maybe be a problem? Some of the guys get a little too anxious and have more accidents this year.
I think it's going to be an improvement. They say they went a little wider, which they've went a little wider in three different instances. But it might be a little slippery at first. After it gets broken in there, it's going to be probably a little bit faster.
Yeah, they said they added like 6 or 8 feet on the backstretch, and believe it or not, increased the bank, which is all you guys needed. But you know, Thunder Road is a track that you can't afford to get out of position. At least here at Airborne, you get tossed to the second groove, you have a chance of working around a car. Thunder Road, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, you can go back in a hurry. It's 10 of one, half dozen of the other, but you just have to take it the way it comes,
Yeah, let's talk about the 94 season because, like I say, you're planning around all over the place. Regional title would be something real nice to pick up, though.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. This is the first regional race that I'm going to be in. They've already won one at Beach Ridge, which I thought about going to, but because of the rule differences, I didn't go.
Yeah, well, Beach Ridge in a different region, actually. There's 3 regions. We'll get into that later, but one thing about Airborne being a lot wider is some of the guys said that maybe the 100 lapper tonight, things will be real cool, real comfort for maybe the first 80 or 90, but with the big prize for the winner, $2,000 a chance to go to Oxford, we may take about 45 minutes to run the last 10 laps because it could get awful iffy up there with cars bumping into each other. So that's something you anticipate? Something that worries you?
No, I think by the time the end of the race comes around, all the bumping and jamming will be done, and it'll be a good race until the end.
Well, one way to pretty much assure that is have about a half a track or a half a lap lead on the guy running second. You're pretty much sure you won't get bumped out at that point.
Yeah, but if you got a half a track lead, usually they try to look for something wrong.
Ooh, well, he had some point there. Even after 100 laps, he'd probably look for something wrong. The late model Sportsman is beginning to be a feeder division for the Tour now. I know you have really no major aspirations for the Tour, but you have an invader from the ACT with you tonight. The 6-car Rodney Wheat is being driven by Beaver Dragon. It's just another competitor for you guys, but if you're going by him, do you start thinking, hey, wait a minute, this is Beaver Dragon, I got to be careful?
No, Beaver and I have rubbed fenders before, and we talked about it just a little while ago. Maybe we could get next to each other tonight.
Now you mean side-by-side battling for the lead, or maybe behind each other and work your way to the front as a team?
Both ways.
Okay, so you see, now here's the situation. They're going to be real chummy, real friends, work their way to the front, and then they're going to bang each other, right?
Well, we do what we have to.
Good answer. By the way, I said I'm real comfortable. You have to understand, his crew member informed me that he needs a pillow, and they're really catering to this guy. Of course, he's going to be 100 laps. I guess that's only fair, but when you're inside one of those cars, it gets pretty hot for 30, 35 laps. You've had a 100-lap race before. Does it get really tough in there to concentrate?
Usually gets up. You're sweating pretty good by the end of that race because the temperature inside the car gets pretty high. And, it just don't cool off. It stays hot the whole entire race after the first 10, 15 laps.
Well, obviously, if you pick up the win, going to Oxford is a pretty good bet. But were you planning to go to begin with?
No, I wasn't. But if I should happen to, I would make some kind of arrangement.
Yeah, that only makes sense. Let's set up the race here. Let's say you don't get the advantage of starting up near the front of the pack. You're in the middle of the back of the pack. You're going to be, knowing you have 100 laps to run, you're going to be charging up there full force or pacing yourself like a lot of guys figure you're going to have to do.
I'm going to try to pace myself.
Any idea, say with 2 or 3 laps to go, you want to be leading or maybe right on the leader's bumper to make that last lap pass?
Oh, I'd like to be leading.
All right, so he wants to be leading. He wants to be passing Beaver Dragon. There might be some contact. I guess all you guys are going to get to see this because a little bit later they'll be running their 100 lap. I want to thank him for joining me. The driver of the red, white, and blue number 9 late model. Keep an eye for him. He may be the leader, and he may just be the guy in victory lane. $2,000 red shirt. Thanks for joining me, Dan.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my crew chief, Gary Harris, and all the crew that put the car under me. And I'd like to thank all the sponsors on the car. I'll name them briefly. It's CRA Roofing, Key Chevrolet in Keysville, New York. We got Hanson Starter Shop, Van Gun Shop, Burnell Asphalt, Sign Express. Let me see, we got another one. Green Motorsports, and the Lean and Pine Restaurant.
All right, with all the formality. Oh, wait a minute, one more.
Brook and Irwin Insurance.
Oh, don't forget them, oh boy. All the formalities out of the way. We're going to get this guy to work. Pit meeting about ready to start, and then this guy's got to get to work to qualify to the setup for 100 laps. Thanks again for joining me, Dane.
Thank you.
Flying Tiger, heat number 1 on the Speedway, and here to bring you the action is Steve Hayes. last week, Mark Barnier was in attendance, but the car did not get off the hauler. They practiced with it. And once the heats and features hit the track, Mark Barnier was nowhere to be found. So apparently they've done some work on that Duro car, and looks like the work was good enough for them to pick up a victory here in heat number 1. Flying Tiger, heat number 2 on the Speedway, and here to bring you the call is Steve Hayes.
9 machines set to answer the call. Front row, the 75 of Sparky LePay and the 49 of Mike Bushy. They lead him down to the stripe and the green. Sparky gets a lead back. Bushy back to second. Third place to the 51 of Marchetti. Then Ernie Holmes, Bob Woods, and the 17 of Brian Bushy. One down, 7 to go. LePay, your leader with Bushy all over his back bumper. Third to Eddie, followed by Holmes, Bob Woods, Brian Bushy, Danny Benoit, Toby Ebersol, and Mike Nance to complete the field. Well, in the first qualifier of the evening, the Zero machine of Barnier started outside pole, jumped out to the lead, and led every lap. Now Sparky started on the pole, and he's going to try to duplicate that feat of a green to checkered victory. But Mike Bushy is on his bumper trying to take that honor away from him. And let's not forget the guy third, the 51 of Marchetti. Your top 3 have pulled away by maybe 10 or 11 car lengths. The guy on the move is the 74 Danny Benoit. Battling Ernie Holmes for 4th right now. Got a little pushing for, but Dan Benoit has had to do everything on the outside groove so far in this event. Unless there's a caution, doubtful he'll get to the front. It is still the 75 your race leader. He is still being tailed by the 49 of Mike Bushy. Now the 51 of Eddie has dropped back a bit. Looks like LePay and Bushy will decide it between themselves. A little bit of a tap. I'm sure that LePay knew that Bushy was behind him. 2 to go this time by. Best foul on the track. Well, might not be for the lead. Bushy sticks his nose to the inside. LePay shuts it. Pushes Bushy down a bit. Oh, but Sparky leaves the door wide open. He'll pay for it. They take the lead, and it's a drag. And LePay and Bushy exchange some colors there. But when it's all said and done, the 49 machine takes the lead on the last lap. And unless Sparky can return the favor, it's going to be Mike pulling off the victory. It will be just that. The 49 of Bushy, your winner. Okay, maybe Sparky would have won it, but he left the door wide open after pushing Bushy down in the backstretch, and Mike kind of returned the favor on him and took the victory.
Good patience on the part of Mike Bushy early on in that heat. It appears, though, he had what was necessary to move underneath LePay, but LePay shut the door on him a couple times, and Bushy was patient enough to wait as he goes right by the checkered flag.
I think he passed it up, to be honest. Looked like he waved it off from Chief. Thank you. Final flying heat. Row 4. Shotgun in the 8-car field. A very tight pack comes down to the Valentine second. Third place to Lamberton, followed by Williams with Jason Leo pushing him along. Then Hutchins drowned. Early retiree shotgun started the 04 Benoit. He sounded sick as he went by. Let's just say that. The first two qualifiers, the guy who started outside pole won the race. Well, guess what? Dave Wilcox started outside pole in this one. Oh, but look who is on his bumper, or at least catching him. The 77 of Eric Williams and the 8 of Jason Leo. I think Mr. Wilcox. Oh, trouble. Wilcox very loose into 2. And Eric Williams says, thank you very much, takes the lead. Now Leo gets to the inside of Wilcox. Getting back to that DQ, Wild Bill Sawyer's number 39 DQ'd from the first qualifier. Eric Williams is your race leader. The 8 of Jason Leo runs second. Wilcox, the former leader, runs third with Eldred Hutchins battling for that spot. Mark Lamberton is fifth, but he is several car lengths behind fourth place Hutchins. Up front, Eric Williams pulls away a little bit from the 8 machine of Leo. First two features of the year. Williams won the first one. Leo won the second. They're running 1-2 in this qualifier. Hutchins looking to get inside of Wilcox for third with 2 to go this time by. No doubt about it. Best battle on the speedway. The battle for third between the 44 of Dave Wilcox and the 37 of Eldred Hutchins. Hutchins has tried just about every racing groove imaginable these last couple laps, but he is still sitting behind the 44 machine. White flag comes out for Williams. Leo is still about 5 car lengths behind. Eldred Hutchins goes high, looks low. Wilcox saw it coming and blocked him. Battle for third is what everybody's watching. As they come out of 4, Williams will pick up the victory with Leo second. The battle for third, they come to the stripe. A nice block by Wilcox, who will settle for third. Eldred Hutchins did everything but take the 44 around to finish fourth. Lamberton's 29 was fifth. But really, Rob, Dave Wilcox, a great job of holding off Lewis, New York's Eldred Hutchins. Hutchins tried every move imaginable, just could not get by the 44.
That was the best battle on the track for position, but that was the heat where really we saw the top cars in the Flying Tiger division, and Eric Williams able to come away with a checkered flag in this third Flying Tiger heat. Inside the 83 of Stacy Cahoon. Row 2, it's Red Mead and Mark Lanphier in the 49. Row 3, Steve Craddock, Bucko Branham. Row 4, it's Dwayne Lanphier and Pat Corbett. Back to row 5, Ted DeVarney and Andy Boatwright in the 16. 10 cars in the first heat. 4 heats for the late model Sportsman. The Sunoco Regional 100 nights. Green is out. Tony Andrews. Good start on the inside into turn 1. Remember, these cars drew for position. So it's cars like Andrews and Cahoon that had a pretty decent draw when they entered into the pits. Top 6 cars will qualify for the 100. Tight action in the middle of the pack. Second. Red Mead third. Mark Lanphier fourth. His brother Dwayne on the outside for fifth. Chet DeVarney is sixth. Seventh to Bucko Branham. Eighth is Steve Craddock, and ninth is Pat Corbett. We go back to the front of the pack, and it is still Tony Andrews in the 28. Battle for fourth between Lanphier brothers, Mark on the inside, Wayne on the outside. This is for fourth. We go back to the second spot. Red Mead looks underneath Stacy Cahoon. Cahoon is losing out of 4. And it's Red Mead into the second spot. Red had a great finish last week, finishing second to Dave Whitcomb. And he looks to repeat a fine performance again here this weekend. Again, 6 will qualify into the main event. And right now it is Tony Andrews out front. Andrews is led from the drop of the green flag. He has a half car length lead over the one of Red Mead. Then it's Stacy Cahoon third. Dwayne Lanfear has made the pass for fourth. Fifth, it is Mark Lanfear. And a battle for sixth, the last qualifying position. Chet DeMarney and Buck Branham. Let's watch this battle for the last qualifying spot. 6 cars to qualify for the 100-lap main event. Bucko Branham on the outside. Chet DeVarney is 12 on the inside. Mark Lanfear sits 5th at this time. Branham had the edge of the stripe that time, but he is on the outside. And DeVarney has that inside groove. Battle up at the front. Look out. Cars touch. Red Mead, the leader. Cahoon moves it into second. Cahoon. Chet DeVarney gets loose. The caution is out. And Steve Hayes, I don't think there's much out there. 40 of Dwayne Lanfear. Got a piece of the rear quarter panel of 28 of Tony Andrews.
Absolutely, but what the fans did not see is that they came out of 4. The 28 machine of Andrews got loose. Reddy got past him. There was contact. Andrews, in passing the stripe, was waving his fist toward the chief starter. Andrews really was not concentrating too much on the driving. Got down right with Dwayne Lanfear, and yeah, the 40 took him around, but at the time, the 28 machine was rather upset with Mr. Mead, and not necessarily rightfully, because 20 looked a bit loose and Mead took advantage.
All right, caution on the speedway. We'll be back with the conclusion of this first heat. Red. Red. Red Mead, Dwayne Lanfear, Bucko Branham, Pat Clark. About making a move on Red Mead towards the inside. Two to go for outside. He's Red Mage. Buckle Brandon second. Pack Orber third. Stacy Cahoon fourth. Fifth to the 28 of Tony Andrews. Steve Hayes sixth. Who did you catch for sixth in the final?
Qualifiers, so these guys are running basically half of a feature event in their qualifiers. I guess by that time, the better driver should get to the front of the pack, Rob.
That'll do it for heat number one. Heat two, about to the end of the speedway. Heat number two for the late model Sportsman on Speedway. And on the pole, by luck of the draw, the 75 of Peter Fecto. Outside, the 11 of Ron Lamel. Row two, the 19 of Tom Godley from New Hampshire. And Gaten Wood, the 79. Row three, Billy Johnson. The green is out. Peter Fecto. To pull off the pass. Lamel 6, Joe Thomas 7. Tom Tiller, Heat number 3 for the late model sportsman, Chuck Beatty and Norm Gay, row 1. Bert Gilbert, row 2 on the inside. Dennis Demers on the 86 on the outside. Row 3 is Jim Silly and Dennis Cairn. Ed Lockerbie and Gene Paul Sear, row 4. Row 5, Tim Patinka. Lance Furno was supposed to be inside row 5. Row 6, Tony Boyson. And the 35 Vermont of Dean Gallison. There's the 31 of Lance Furno. Furno having some overheating problems in the practice, and he's already made one trip to the pits before the start of this third heat.
Bert Gilbert, the New Hampshire driver in the 58 Volkswagen machine, and on the outside, Dennis Demers.
There's Chuck Beatty in the 54. He's on the inside. Norm Gay outside in the 50. Bert Gilbert and Dennis Demers. They're going to run in some of the... Actually, right now they're having a problem with the sun, and while they do that and wait for the sun to set, we're going to take a second and take a break. Steve Hayes, we're set for the third late model sportsman heat. Got a pick for this one?
Well, in the opener, I said before qualified, I'll go with Dennis Demers. Hey, no need to change my mind. He'll win the qualifier.
That sounds like a pretty logical choice to me. Heat 3 late model sportsman out of 4 down to the green. Chuck Beatty. Oh, look out, Norm Gay. Looks as though he missed it here. The 50 struggling down the backstretch. Look out, 58. Gilbert a little bit loose, and that's going to move him backwards a lot. This is a tough heat. It's the 54 of Chuck Beatty. Jim Silly second. Gene Paul Sear third. Then it is Dennis Cairn in the 43. Dennis Demers back to 5th in the 86. And Gilbert is 6th in the 58. Back to the front, Chuck Beatty. Beatty in the 54. Driver who was here last week checking out the track. Last week's regular show. Looks like he learned something, and he is out front in his third heat. Jim Silly second. Gene Paul Sear third. Dennis Cairn fourth. Dennis Demers fifth. Beatty loose out of 4. Jim Silly the leader. Gene Paul Sear moves underneath for second. And Chuck Beatty stuck on the outside. Dennis Cairn moves underneath for third. So a change in the top 4. Jim Silly, the leader. Gene Sear, second. You'll notice a very bright sun off of the third and fourth turn. These drivers having to deal with that as well. We'll check the field. It is Silly, Sear, Cairn. Fourth is Beatty. Fifth is Dennis Demers. And sixth right now is Lance Furno in the final qualifying spot. Tim Patinka 7th. Norm Gay 8th. 9th, Tony Boyson. And Gilbert has gone back to 10th. Back to the front. Silly and Jean-Paul Cyr. They are the top 2 cars in this third heat. Jim Silly was here opening day and did not have a typical performance as he was struggling on opening day. But he appears to have that car in the right setup because he is flying at the front of the pack. Gene Cyr is second. Third, Dennis Karen. Karen had a good run going last week. Had a last lap incident that cost him a good finish. Fourth, Chuck Beatty. Dennis Demers fifth. Out of 4, still Jim Silly. There's position 3, 4, 5. Back to position 6. And Lance Furno back to 7th spot, and really it is not close. Smoke from Dennis Karen in the 43. Heavy duty smoke from the 43. The 43 definitely with major problems, slowing down, trying to hang on to a qualifying spot. Chuck Beatty moves it underneath for third. Dennis Demers, he gets together with him. Yellow is out. Steve Hayes. If there are any mosquitoes, Dennis Karen is taking care of them.
Well, the opinion on top of the tower was there was some tire smoke rubbing, but Dennis Demers lost control when he was behind him. Lance Furno got loose. Norm Gay got loose. I have got to believe that's more than tire smoke. There's some fluid being laid down.
Tire smoke usually does not come out of the exhaust.
This is very true. I just noticed that. I'm afraid Dennis Karen is not going to qualify in his heat because I'm pretty sure he's heading to the pits with a couple of laps to go.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Oh, yes, the black is out.
Well, this also means that in addition to some other pretty notable drivers, Dennis Demers will have to go through a consi.
Well, Demers right now. There you see Dennis Karen going back into the pits. And it looks like major problems for the 43 if he's going to get back in it. But let's talk about Dennis Demers. Silly right now sits in the top spot. Second, Jean-Paul Cyr, as you see the field. Chuck Beatty third. Lance Furno with a good run up to fourth. Tim Patega fifth. Sixth is Tony Poisson. Seventh is Norm Gay in the 50. Eighth is Bert Gilbert in the 58. Ed Lockerbie is ninth, and Demers is 10th. So really, he has to pick off 4 cars.
Yeah, after I made the comment, I realized he was not a lap down. Initially I thought he was, and he wasn't going to lap the whole field. But 4 cars. Let's see, they would be the rookie first-timer in the 58, Ed Lockerbie, Norm Gale. It's possible with 2 laps.
We were talking about the 31 of Lance Furno, and Furno has brought the car into the pits. And we saw Lance before the event started tonight, after their practice, definitely having problems with overheating because they were just pouring buckets and buckets of water into that
dumping all kinds of water in the radiator area. And, of course, with 100 laps facing him tonight, it would not be a good sight when you got to pour water in after practice.
Hey, look who it is, Steve Hayes. Former MotorSports Magazine host Rick Knowles, who's now announcer here at the track, getting in our way.
What's new?
Well, now the question is, can Dennis Demers and Lance Furno get to a qualifying spot? To do that, they have to pass 3 cars.
Well, the 58 machine and Ed Lockerbie's 38 have both been slowing down. They should get by them. Question is, can they get by both, for that matter, Tony Poisson and Stormin Norman Gay. It'll be interesting 2 laps.
Jim Silly and Gene Paul Steer set the pace. There are 13 laps down, 2 to go in this third late model sportsman heat. Green is out. Silly. Now Beattie looks to move underneath Sear for second. Drag race down the backstretch for second. Dennis Demers and Lance Furno look to pick off spots. Silly at the front, 2 to go. Gene Paul Sear on the outside. They're the top 3. Patinka 4th, Poisson 5th. Norm Gay right now is 6th and in the final qualifying spot. Then Lance Furno 7th, Dennis Demers 8th. Checker flag, ready to fly for Jim Silly. It's Jim Silly, Chuck Beattie, Gene Paul Sear, Tim Patinka, Tony Poisson, and Norm Gay holds on to that 6th spot. Dennis Demers does not qualify, neither does the 31 of Lance Furno.
Well, let's see. 4 guys, top of my head, that have got to go to a consi. Get this. Furno, Demers, Tiller, and the 66 of Joe Thomas. So
Ron Weston as well.
You are correct. The 35 machine of Ron Weston, our leading rookie. There are 5 guys who you know came here anticipating to have a chance to run for the checker in the main event.
A very happy Jim Silly, victorious in the third late model sportsman heat.
Third, the 42, Gene Paul Sear. Leading the Thunder Road champion.
The fourth late model sportsman heat take to the speedway. And on the pole is the 14 of Phil Scott. Brent Dragon starts the 6th. The 0 card, mechanical problems, will not start, so he hops in the 6th. His father, Beaver, will not compete tonight. Tracy Belrose inside row 2, Robin Wood on the outside. Jay Parentoni inside row 3, Randy Potter on the outside. Potter, regular runner over at Riverside. Out of 4, the green is out. Scott on the inside. Look out, Belrose drifts high immediately. Out of turn 2. Gary Cairn is in the field. He's in the 22. Doug Hoare in the 46. Michael Knapp in the 80. Back to the front, Phil Scott. Brent Dragon second. Scott, a regular runner over at Thunder Road. Competed here on a couple of occasions and has done very well in that 14. Brent Dragon second. We got a crowd shot. Belrose third. 4th. Robin Wood. Jay Parentoni in the 05 is 5th. Gary Cairn is 6th. Randy Potter 7th. Michael Knapp 8th. Doug Hoare makes a move on the inside of the 46. And that door quickly closes. George Stone in the 60. Flipper Irwin in the 24. Back to the front, Brent Dragon looks to the inside of Phil Scott to make a pass for the lead. Scott drifts high. That opens the door for Dragon. Out of 4, the new leader is Brent Dragon. Car sideways. That's Jay Parentoni. They all get moving and will have no caution. Down the backstretch, Brent Dragon in the 6th. Phil Scott in the 14. 3rd is Robin Wood. Tracy Belrose is 4th. 5th is Gary Cairn. And right now 6th is Michael Knapp. We watched the battle for 4th between Tracy Belrose and Gary Cairn in the 22. Belrose just high out of 4. That opens the door for Cairn. Gary Cairn in 4th. We swing back to the front. Brent Dragon into 6th. Normally that car driven by Rod Wade. Beaver Dragon was going to drive the car, and if you can notice, we'll try to get a shot when the car goes by this time. It does stay on the top of the car, Beaver Dragon. Dragon in the 6th. Phil Scott in the 14. Dragon putting a lap on the 05 of Jay Parentoni. 3rd is Robin Wood. 4th is Gary Caron. Making a pass for 5th. Michael Knapp on the inside. Tracy Belrose on the outside. Knapp goes by for 5th. Belrose now in 6th. Back to the front, Brent Dragon cruising. 4 laps to go, this time by for Brent Dragon. Third right now, Robin Wood in the 61. 2 to go. Back to the front. White flag is out for Brent Dragon. Out of 4, down to the stripe. Brent Dragon in the 6 is your winner. 2nd, Phil Scott. 3rd, Robin Wood. Coming home 4th is Gary Caron. Michael Knapp 5th, Tracy Belrose 6th, Doug Hoare 7th. Woo! Steve Hayes, another top weekly driver who does not qualify for the 100. Doug Hoare in the Dodge Intrepid number 46 does not advance.
Yeah, a couple of more guys added to that growing list of drivers you did not expect to have to go through a Consi. Doug Hoare and the 02 of Randy Potter, which, believe me, it's a very strong car. You just couldn't tell. Question here with the 6 machine. That car normally driven by rookie Rodney Weed. I don't know how tall Rodney is, but Brent Dragon along with Danny Bridget, 2 of the taller guys you'll find walking the pits. Crew didn't have a lot of time to fix that car. There's only limited things you can do inside the driver's compartment. I don't know how comfortable Brent is in that car right now.
Well, he's comfortable enough with his victory in heat number 4.
And the ones that can't make the cut through the
Heat number 1 for the street stocks on the speedway. 6 laps to the distance, and Steve Hayes with the call.
All right, 6 laps of distance. And trouble is there's 14 cars out there, so you know guys in the back have got to hustle in a hurry. On the pole, the 45 of Lloyd Mortis, and he is joined by the 82 of Roy Ebersol. We'll probably mention the others because they'll probably get involved in something along the way. Row 2, you might want to watch this row, the 75 of Chuck Farnsworth, and the 01 of Keith Nolan. Last week, Nolan was awful strong for a while in that 01 car. Mortis jumps out to the early lead, but then again, he did start on the pole. 3 wide with Broussard letting it all hang out. Mortis in trouble up front. Gets loose. Great job of bringing it under control with the field stacked 4 wide behind him. Someone's going to have to back off as they head into 3. A couple of guys wisely do so. Meanwhile, lap 1 goes in the books with Farnsworth in the 75 leading Ebersol in the 82. The 76 of Rick Hart runs 3rd. T-Rumble. There goes Ebersol with the 82. He was running 2nd, no longer. Turns that automobile around. Gets it fired, no caution on the speedway. Meanwhile, Charles Farnsworth has picked up a big lead now with the 75. New guy 3rd, the 3 of Moretown, Vermont's Dennis Griffin. It is Farnsworth, Griffin, LeGray, Hart, then the 24 of Dave Manning, followed by the 37 of Dave Parent. With 2 qualifiers in this division, the 3 guys everyone talking about, Frenier, Bowden, and Gibbs, are all in the 2nd qualifier. Your leader is Farnsworth. Griffin second. The 72 LaGrave third, followed by Parent, then Rickhart fifth. But he's got the 24 of Manning and the 71 of Tony Broussard, splitting them. Broussard ducks to the inside, takes the fifth spot away. Hart back to sixth. The red 08 machine of Dave Fields has been smoking heavily since the drop of the green. Does not appear to be leaking fluid, but it is definitely setting up smoke signals. Meanwhile, up front, Farnsworth is your leader, but now LaGrave and Griffin, that's closed right up on him. He can only drive one groove. He's got to pick one. Blocks the inside. That gives LaGrave a shot on the high groove. With 1 lap to go, we are looking at one spectacular finish. Farnsworth in the 75 has led it most of the way. LaGrave in the 72 goes on the outside. The door opens for the 3. Earnhardt lookalike of Griffin. There is fluid in turn 1. The leaders won't have to worry about it until they hit the turn. LaGrave takes the lead on the last turn. He'll pick up the victory, but remember, fluid in turn 1. These guys may go for a spin. LaGrave your winner, Farnsworth second, Griffin third, Parrott fourth. Broussard rounds out the top 5, and Rob, not the most exciting thing in the world, but that last lap was interesting with a 3-car shootout for the top spot.
Oh, good pass for the 72, Curtis LaGrave. Again, whenever you have a last lap pass, it creates some excitement, and for LaGrave, he did everything right. Made the pass on that white flag lap.
Had Dennis Griffin been a little closer, he had a shot at the win. The door opened up out of 2, and LaGrave took the lead. The 75 went high to block him. Door opened inside, but Griffin could not capitalize.
Heat number 2 for the street stocks on the Speedway. 6 laps the distance, and here's Steve Hayes.
12 automobiles set to go in the second and final qualifier for the stocks tonight. Front row, the 61 of Ralph Gus Jr. and the Ford machine of Brian Chris. Jr. has about a 6-car length lead as he hits the stripe. Meanwhile, fanning real wide up in 1. The 23 of Becker way deep, losing positions. D'August, your leader. Second is Corey Trombley. Third belongs to the 60 machine of Terry Gunnett. Behind him, a big field of cars battling for positions. One automobile not here. Well, he's here. The 91 of Sean Fountain. Sean, from what I understand, lost the engine in a practice round, and tough break for Sean because he is a major competitor the first couple of weeks. Going to lose a bunch of points this way. D'August Jr., your leader. Going up runs second. Trombley runs third. No longer. Brian Pugh with a feature victory under his belt takes over the third spot. One car desperately looking for room. The 77 of Freye. Oh, and a car gets loose in front of him. Wisely hits the binders. The 77 of Freye and the 92 of Gibbs, 2 of the quicker automobiles the first couple of weeks. They're not doing too good right now. They are having all kinds of traffic trouble. Your leader is still the 61 of Ralph Dost Jr. out of Plattsburgh. Terry Gunnett runs second in black 60. And Brian Pugh with a red, white, and blue 29 is in the third spot. Now Frenier looks for racing room. He is currently 6th and not having any respect given to him. 2 to go this time by for this 51. Now Frenier finds a groove, gets by the 99 of Andrew Carey, sets his sights on the 4th spot, occupied by the rest 66 of Corey Trombley. Gets to the inside, disposes of Trombley, but he has run very short of laps. I don't think he'll get to the front in a lap and a half. White flag comes out for the 61, a healthy lead. Any other division, you'd say he's home free. Not necessarily so with the stocks. Good up run second, but Brian Pugh is catching him in a hurry. Frenier is 4th, and Corey Trombley currently 5th. Here they come to the stripe. Picking up to win the 61 of Ralph Gus Jr. Terry Gunnett 2nd, Brian Pugh 3rd, Rick Frenier 4th. And at the wire, give 5th to the 92 of Dan Gibbs, who noses out Corey Trombley's number 66. And Rob, I'm a little surprised. The 61 car never looked extremely strong until this qualifier.
Very convincing win for car 61. And Steve Steve Hayes, I bet you can't wait for feature time when you get to call all 26 on the track at the same time.
Oh, it will truly be an experience, I assure you. Surprises, though. Frenier and Gibbs took forever to find their way free of traffic. They were coming up. They came up short. But with the extra distance in the main event, I still think those are the two guys you better be looking for.
Semi-feature time for the Flying Tigers. 9 cars in the field, 9 laps of distance. Who has 9 lives out there, Steve Hayes?
Very good question. Looking at the 9 cars, good field here. Barnier and Young in row 1, LePan and Bushy in row 2. That's the 49 of Mike Bushy. 3rd row, Eddie and Williams. 4th row, Hutchins and Leo. Shotgun to the 99 of Moon Miller. Interesting fact here. We always mention Hutchins, Williams, and Leo. Well, they sit 1, 2, 3 in the points. If you look at this field, they are the only 3 drivers in the top 10 in points to make this semi-feature. How's that for being impressive? Barnier and Young taken by Mike Bushy, cutting down on the pan. Big trouble. Mike Bushy gets awful racy, and the guy who pays for it is the one of Jimmy Young. Setting the seat again, Bushy definitely cutting down on LePan. LePan clipped him, and in the ensuing melee, the one of Jimmy Young goes around and goes all the way to dead last. Mark Barnier, your leader. LePan 2nd. Mike Bushy 3rd, followed by Williams. Then a drag race between Eddie and Leo for 5th, followed by Hutchins, Miller, and Young. The 0 of Mark Barnier. Last week came here, practiced, had trouble, loaded the car, never raced a lap of competition. Making up for it tonight, he won the qualifier. If he wins the fight in the semi, he'll only be the feature victory away from the very elusive Triple Crown. He has a good lead right now of about 7 or 8 car lengths over Sparky LePan. Trouble is, that pesky 77 of Williams is on the move. He sits 3rd right now and setting his sights for Sparky for top 5. Another car on the move, the 37 of Eldred Hutchins. He is joined by the 8 of Jason Leo. Those guys better get used to running side by side. It looks like they're going to be doing that a lot this year. Barnier actually has increased that lead as a 3-car battle for second develops between LePan, Williams, and Bushy. Then another 8 or 9 car lengths back to Hutchins, Eddie, and Leo. And then far back to Moon Miller and Jimmy Young, who has not even come close to regaining his form since the initial lap 1 incident. Halfway mark, that time out for Barnier, and now Williams has cleared Sparky LePan and sets his sights on Mark Barnier's lead. 4 laps to go. Barnier has a good margin of, well, good lead. But somehow you gotta figure Williams is gonna give it all now. Trouble up at 4. Leo and Eddie come together. Leo continues. Eddie do-si-dos around and goes way back in the field. Jimmy Young has simply pulled off the track. He has some sort of problem from that turn 1 incident. He's retired from the event. Look at this. Williams has cut in drastically to Barnier's lead with 2 to go. Barnier's a pretty wily guy, though. He might have a chance of holding off Williams, but he's going to have to do it for another lap and a half. It is the 0 Barnier, followed very closely now by the 77 of Eric Williams. Then it is LePan, Mike Bushy, and Eldred Hutchins, but it's simply a 2-car battle for the top spot. You saw the margin, half a car length when the white flag fell. Williams lost traction a bit on the high groove, forced it to back off, regain it. Now he sets his sights on the high groove again, going into 3. Mark Barnier driving him up high. Barnier a little loose coming off the turn, and he's going to pay for it. Eric Williams takes advantage of Mark Barnier getting loose. Eric Williams picks up the win. Won't be a Triple Crown for Mark Barnier tonight. Trouble on the 0 machine. He has a fire in the engine compartment. You look inside the left front rear well, there's a fire on the 0 machine, and I bet you that the 0 driver has no idea right now.
You're absolutely right, Steve Hayes.
And nobody else does either. There's no one rushing over. I think he knows now. He pulls off. Yeah. The tow truck crews, the RC and Sons crew, has motioned frantically for him to pull in. That 0 car was on fire. That may have something to do with him getting loose. And guess what? You saw it here on MotorSports Magazine. Nobody else happened to catch that one, Rob. You know, drivers hate this, Rob. They put a car together with a nice engine, and then they do this to it.
So Steve Hayes, I wonder if this isn't a recurrence of the problem Mark Barnier had last week.
Very possibly. I do not know what was wrong with Barnier's car, but he looked good in practice, then loaded it up, and he was done for the night. So, tough break. Boy, he looked real strong tonight. Hopefully he will make it to the main event and have a very healthy car under him, but I don't know. It's not a good sign when they spray that stuff in your engine, Rob.
Great pass for that car, the 77 of Eric Williams. It's very exciting semi-feature for the Flying Tigers. And we have Consolation number 1 coming up next for the late model Sportsman. Consi number 1, the late model Sportsman, Mark Lanfear and Dennis Demers, row 1. Row 2, Andy Boatwright and Bert Gilbert, row 2. Dwayne Lanfear on the inside of row 3, Ed Lockerbie on the outside. Look out. Boatwright's got difficulties on the backstretch, and I don't think we will start on schedule here. No, yellow is on the track. Yellow's on the track. Yellow's on the track. Yellow's on the track. Look out. Steve Hayes, 4 cars will move on to the feature from this first Consolation.
You got to figure half of them make up the front row with Mark Lanfear and Dennis Demers.
It's a safe bet. Any other guesses?
Oh, probably the 40 of Dwayne Lanfear to join his brother, but after that, tough call. If he can get up, maybe the 42 of Tony Poisson. I'll tell you what, Gatlin of the 79 looked awful good early in his qualifier, but then the car went away.
Yep.
Really depends what that car's got in it for these 12 laps.
Well, they're going to give Boatwright his spot back on the inside of row 2.
Well, we never had an official start. That seems like the right call.
Must have missed a gear going down the backstretch. The field is set once again. They'll come around one more time, and then the pace car will duck into the pits. Let's set the field for you once again. It's Mark Lanfear and Dennis Demers, Andy Boatwright and Bert Gilbert, Dwayne Lanfear and Ed Lockerbie, Galen Wood and Rupert Irwin, and Tony Poisson, shotgun, starting 9th. One car did not make the call, that being the 35 of Dean Gallison. Gallison does not start this Consolation event. 9 cars in this first Consi. 12 laps the distance. Top 4 move on. Lanfear and Demers side by side out of 4 down the green. Gilbert third, still side by side down the backstretch now. Lanfear pulls out in front. Demers battles back on the outside. Dennis Demers in the 86 into second. Lanfear is in top spot. Dwayne Lanfear looks to the outside of Gilbert. Gilbert takes Dwayne Lanfear high and he backs off, but now Gilbert loose out of 2, and that gives Lanfear a shot once again at the second spot. Meanwhile, back up front, Dennis Demers looks to the outside of the 49 of Mark Lanfear. They're side by side out of turn 4. Down the stripe, it's Dennis Demers. McIntyre Fuels, car number 86, out in front. Down the backstretch, he'll tuck it down in front of Mark Lanfear, and he is solidly in front. Car length back to Mark Lanfear in second. Third is Dwayne Lanfear, and fourth is Bert Gilbert. We'll get a shot of the field. It's Demers, Mark Lanfear, Brother Dwayne, Gilbert, Bowright, Galen Wood, Tony Poisson, Flipper Irwin, and Ed Lockerbie. Galen Wood showing sparks. Dwayne Lanfear looks to make a move on Brother Mark for second. Dennis Demers checking out on these two. Couple good cars right here. Mark the 49, Dwayne the 40. Wouldn't it be something if these two took each other out? Boy, there'd be real nice conversation at the dinner table if that ever happened. Mark Lanfear with that nose down on the inside, Dwayne on the outside. That's where he was in his heat when he decided to try to make a pass for the lead with just a couple of laps to go, and eventually he was stuck on the outside, got loose between 3 and 4 and went around. That's why he's here in the Consolation. The battle will be for fourth, and the question now is, can Tony Poisson run down to 58 of Gilbert? And the answer is yes, very quickly. Poisson will look to take over the fourth spot. He's right on that bumper. Working hard. Tony Poisson in the 42. Winner, week 1 from Malvern, Vermont. Trying to get into the big show tonight. The 100-lap main event. Highlights of that coming up later. Side by side out of 4. Two to go for Tony Poisson. Can he get it done? Back at the top spot, it is now Dwayne Lanfear in second. Mark in third. The white flag is out, and still it is Gilbert for fourth. We're going to watch this battle, as this is the hot spot right now. Tony Poisson on the inside. He knows he needs 4. Gilbert shuts the door. Drives a smooth line out of 4. Down to the stripe, it's Gilbert. Tony Poisson 5th. And Dennis Demers takes home the victory. Dwayne Lanfear the second. Good battle between the Lanfear brothers for second.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been a shame if they took each other out. That would not have been a pleasant family conversation. But how about the rookie running fourth? Tony Poisson, let's remember, who won the first event here this year on the Founding DQ. He did everything, including bumping the 58. But the first-time rookie in that machine, the 58, did he do a good job holding off Tony or not?
Sure did, and he's going to be rewarded by advancing into the field. Consi number 1 complete, the winner. Veteran. Dennis Demers. Second Consolation on the Speedway. Joe Thomas starts on the pole. Doug Hoare outside row 1. Kentucky Colonels on the inside of row 2. That's Tom Tiller. Randy Potter on the outside in the 02. Row 3, Brett Wheeler, George Stone. Row 4, it's the 19 of Tom Gosley. And on the outside, let's check that. Oh, it's 05 Jay Parentoni and Pat Corbett, shotgun. Corbett disqualified from his earlier heat. He was too low. Green is out on the field, and Doug Hoare looks to get the jump on the outside. Joe Thomas, Hoare is loose. Down the backstretch, Thomas battles back on the inside. Joe Thomas uses that inside groove to stay out in front. Down the backstretch. Hoare looks to the inside. Little contact there. It is Joe Thomas and Doug Hoare. We'll check the field this time by. It's Thomas the leader, Doug Hoare second, Tom Tiller third. Fourth is Randy Potter. Pat Corbett has worked his way up to sixth. And he's going to have to pick off 2 more cars if he's going to make it. He's already picked off 1, George Stone. So the 5 of Pat Corbett working hard to try to qualify for the 100-lap main event. Back up to the front, Joe Thomas, Doug Hoare. Tom Tiller third, Randy Potter fourth, Pat Corbett fifth is knocking on the door. Back to the front is still Joe Thomas on the inside. Doug Hoare on the outside for second. Third, Tom Tiller. Randy Potter still fourth. Pat Corbett fifth. Halfway, this time by. 6 down, 6 to go for Joe Thomas. We'll get a field shot. Back to the front. Still Joe Thomas and Doug Hoare. There's Hoare in the 46. Third, Tom Tiller in the 77. Randy Potter is fourth in the 02. Pat Corbett is fifth in the 5. Back to the front. Still Joe Thomas and Doug Hoare. Looks like the top 3 drivers are content right now to sit it out, ride this one out, and easily qualify for the 100-lap main event. The pressure right now is on the 02 of Potter and the 5 of Corbett. Those are the 2 cars who are going to battle for that final spot. No, Doug Hoare, just when I thought he was going to be patient and settle for second, tries to use the lap traffic, and Joe Thomas pushes him high. Whoa, that was something. Checkered flag will fly this time for the 66 of Joe Thomas. Doug Hoare second, down to the stripe. Third, Tom Tiller. Randy Potter fourth, Pat Corbett fifth. Well, Steve Hayes, Doug Hoare tried to use the lap car of Gosley, but he was unsuccessful as Thomas was able to push his way up the track and maintain that top spot.
I couldn't have been a qualifier to make it. I clearly could finish the top 4 and 5 things. Nope, he finished fifth.
We're set to start the late model Sportsman 100-lap main event. They're going to get in some hot laps for these vehicles. Steve Hayes, you want to put a pick on record?
I'd love to see one of your guys on the Bucko, Billy, or Danny. Not to send the extra time. I want to look at Mason. Come on, the extra time. The guys who come to that.
So Steve Hayes takes the 32 of Gene Paul Sear. I'll take Scott Carpenter in the 36. 36 cars make up the field. On the pole, Red Mead outside Peter Fecto. Jim Silly and Brent Dragon in row 2. They come out of turn 4 and we're under green. 100 green flag laps the distance. Patience is a virtue in this race. Becto and Meade. Becto with a jump on the outside. Red Meade on the inside as they head into turn 4. We'll get a shot of this 36-car field. Back to the front, it's Peter Becto in the 75. Red Meade in the 1 runs second. Third is Jim Silly in the 68. Bucko Branham runs fourth in the 63. Fifth, Chuck Beatty in the 54. Brent Dragon stuck on the outside is 6th. 7th, Danny Bridges in the 9. 8th, Scott Carpenter. Phil Scott is 9th in the 14. And 10th is Stacy Cahoon in the 88. One of the veterans, Red Meade, runs out in front. What a thrill it would be for Red Meade to win. Of course, right now he's in the 2nd spot. And setting a blistering pace is Peter Becto in the 75. Becto out of Morrisville, Vermont is absolutely flying in the Riverview Garage. Number 75. Trouble on Brett Wheeler's 29. He's smoking and will head to the pits. Look out! Trouble on the front stretch. Trouble on the front stretch. Dave Whitcomb involved. Billy Fountain involved in the 91. He's trailing something at the rear of the car. That appears to be the fuel cell on the 91. Gene Paul Sear got sideways, and Steve Hayes, not a good way to start this event. Whitcomb loses the hood on the 25. The hood goes straight up on the 25 car. Billy Fountain is in the pits, and they're going to bring him behind the wall and see if the 91 crew can go to work and try to repair that vehicle. They look in the rear end of the car.
This is a tied race, 100 green flag laps, but you can lose a lap on this This is not something.
Very disappointing, I'm sure, for the 91, as he had high aspirations in this event. We get a shot at the 91 crew working. Doesn't look good for Bill Fountain. Fountain now 1 lap down, coming in to make a pit stop. Gene Paul Sear in the 32, as well as the 25 of Dave Whitcomb. So Whitcomb brings it in 25. They'll have to work on that hood. Gene Paul Sear is in the 32. They're going to work on the front of that car. Robin Wood has brought the 61 into the pits. Again, front end damage on a lot of these vehicles. Easy repairs for the 25 team as they rip off the hood on that 25 car. He'll be out. I don't think Steve Hayes, Dave Whitcomb will be at any serious disadvantage. hits the 32 car of Jean Paul Sear. And Sear is about to go a lap down unless they can get him out very quickly. They're putting the hood down, and I think he's going to make it out. Just barely. Gene Sear's going to make it out. Robin Wood makes it out, and he does not lose a lap. So they'll join at the rear end of the field, and they have a lot of work to accomplish now, as they're going to have to charge from the rear of the field. Oh, Steve Hayes. Look at the left front on the 32. The left front on that 32 car appears to be wobbling all over the place. I think they might have broke something up in the front of the car. Maybe not.
This one will try and save something in the evening. He is down at least 2, working on 3 laps of the 91 machine. We're not Team is set. Next time on, they'll go to the green.
All right, they're going to go back to green flag racing next time by. Peter Fecto and Red Mead make up row 1. Bucko Branham on the inside. Then Danny Bridges. They sit in row 2. Row 3, it's Chuck Beatty. And on the outside, Scott Carpenter. Check that. That is not Carpenter. That's Jim Silly. Then Scott Carpenter and Brent Dragon. Out of 4 down to the stripe. The green is out. Three wide down the backstretch. Beatty, Bridges, and on the outside, Jim Silly. This time by Peter Fecto has led the first 9 laps of this race. Red Mead is second. Bucko Branham running solidly in third. Fourth, Chuck Beatty in the 54. Fifth is Scott Carpenter in the 36. Sixth, Jim Silly. And seventh, Danny Bridges. Eighth is Phil Scott. Ninth is Brent Dragon. Dennis Demers is 10th. Stacy Cahoon is 11th. 12th is the 28th. That is Tony Andrews. 13th is Tim Patinka. Back to the front of the field. Peter Fecto continues to pull away from Red Mead in the top spot. And Bucko Branham thinks about making a move into second. Good look at Red Mead down the backstretch in the 1. has rejoined the field after making repairs. Tire is spun. Look out. Caution on the speedway. Kurt Gilbert in the 58 went right around, and everybody was able to miss him. Doug Hoare, flat tire on the number 46. The right rear is down, and the Dodge Intrepid, car 46, will be headed towards pit road. Right now, Steve Hayes, however, pit road is closed.
Series. The 4 tires that were on these machines when they started qualifying are supposed to remain on the car through semi-feature and feature. If they cut a tire, they can change it. Well, obviously, Doug Horton needs a little bit of work on the rear of that car, so he'll get a new tire, but point is, you don't want to abuse your tires. I have to believe Pete Fecto is running a little too tough on those tires right now.
Black flag for Steve Craddock as he will pull up on the pace car and head to pit road. Lance Furno is on pit road. We have 16 laps complete, 84 green flag laps still to go. And pulling behind the pit road stall is, believe, Norm Gay in the 50.
It looked that way. Every time Crash Craddock gets a black or something happens, the rule is you hope you don't sue the guy. The reason for that is Stephen Craddock is a practicing attorney in the state of Vermont, so let's hope we don't get any litigation from that action.
They crossed the field over. Let's give you an update on some of the cars who went into the pits after that last yellow. The 32 of Gene Paul Cyr is still in the pits. Major problem, suspension on the left front. That appeared to break on the 32.
The hood has been up on that car since the last restart, and the crew is not working too quickly, so very severe damage to say the least.
The 91 of Bill Fountain is back running on the track. He is 3 or 4 laps down to the field, and unless there is a major miracle, is out of this race.
I'll tell you though, Bill is quick. He was a half a lap down on the last restart. He caught the back of the field and was moving, so boy, that 91 machine has some power, no doubt about it.
He was flying. We're going to have a restart this time. Set the field for you. It is still Peter Fecto and Red Mead. Then Bucko Branham and Chuck Beatty. Beatty running very strong in the 54. Row 3, Scott Carpenter on the inside. Jim Silly with a strong run outside row 3. Danny Bridges and Brent Dragon in the 6. Phil Scott and Dennis Demers. Those cars make up the first 5 rows and the top 10. 16 laps complete, 84 to go. Out of turn 4, down to the stripe, green is out. Bucko Branham under Red Mead for second. Scott Carpenter follows into the 3rd spot. Red Mead looks like he's hung out to dry as Danny Bridges looks to move underneath for 4th. Peter Fecto has lost it. Fecto has lost something on the 75. Field still under green. And the leader is Bucko Branham. Bucko Branham, the leader in the 63. And he's flying. Whoa! Very dangerous maneuver, Peter Fecto. Into the infield, right in front of the leader. Scott Carpenter second. Danny Bridges third. Chuck Beatty fourth. 5th is Red Mead. Jim Silly is 6th. And 7th is Phil Scott. Brent Dragon 8th. 9th, Tony Andrews. 10th is Dennis Demers. Back to the front. Won't be long before the 63 car is working lap traffic. What a popular victory it would be if that 63 could pull into victory lane at the end of this one. Bucko Branham out in front, Scott Carpenter second. Lap traffic directly in front of the cars down the backstretch. Great action all over the track. Branham looking to put a lap on George Stone as he does so on the front stretch. 22 laps complete. Now he looks to move around Randy Potter in the 02. He looks to the inside. Scott Carpenter looks outside. Branham does not like to move to the outside to get around these cars. He's going to have to this time. Scott Carpenter right behind the 63. Sits a car length back in second. We'll get a field shot. Carpenter is second. Third is Danny Bridges. Fourth is Chuck Beatty. These cars all about to be put a lap down by that car. Bucko Branham setting a blistering pace. 33 laps complete. trouble that time right in front of the leaders. And both Branham, Carpenter were able to avoid the trouble. But they are setting a blistering pace. Bucko Branham is flying around this track, and Scott Carpenter is right with him.
And you want to know something? They're not even the quickest. The fastest car by far, visually to me, no doubt about it. The 86 of Dennis Demers is up to fourth, and I have news for you. He has been in traffic a lot of that time. He is unbelievably quick. And also the 91 of Bill Fountain, again, very quick out there. But, you know, it's funny, when we got here to the track, one of these cars did not have anyone to score it tonight. All these cars need to score on the timing system. Guess which car that was? You guessed it, the leader. Bucko Branham did not have a score for his 63. I got news for you. Whoever is scoring that car is marking his or her scorecard before anyone else because he's leading.
Well, to this point, it has been the Bucko Branham show. Do not adjust your sets, but you've had Bucko on your screen for just about the whole race. He has had quite a battle with Scott Carpenter. Carpenter has not trailed him by more than a car length the entire 38 laps that we have run.
Well, you know, they say racers try to forget bad past experiences. Woo. I'm going to bring one up. Remember last year in the 100-lapper, Bucko had the field more than covered, over half a lap lead. Unless he broke, he was easily the winner until Barry Schwartz got in front of him with a 52 machine. And the result, Bucko was out of the race. Not because he crashed, he was put behind the pit wall. It was a very controversial decision. We don't have to bring it up. If you didn't hear about it, we couldn't possibly explain it anyway. But you have to wonder, is Bucko starting to think about that right about now?
Well, I think when you're running the way he's running right now, you're thinking about one thing, and that's keeping that 63 car out in front and hoping that everything stays together underneath the hood, because right now he is flying.
You know, you could say this was a family affair team job. The car that caused the caution was the leader's nephew. You figure it out.
All right, we'll have a restart. Branham leads. The 66 is a lap car of Joe Thomas. Scott Carpenter is second. 77 is a lap car, Tom Tiller. 42 is a lap car, Tony Poisson. Third is Danny Bridges. Fourth, the 86 of Dennis Demers. And in fifth is Chuck Beatty. Out of 4, 38 laps complete. 62 to go, the green is out. Three wide on a backstretch. Bridges moves underneath, or rather, Demers moves underneath Bridges. Bridges battles back. This is a battle for third. Steve Hayes said, watch for the 86, he's up to third. This time out of turn 4. Here are the leaders. We'll try to identify the top 10 for you. Branham, the leader. Second is Carpenter in the 36. Third is Dennis Demers in the 86. Bridges in the 9. The yellow is out. Yellow is out. Pat Corbett has smacked the wall. Caution flies. Pat Corbett loose on the front stretch, Steve Hayes. That brings out the caution.
Well, actually, you have to understand there's also a car stuffed into the turn 4 wall, but we can't tell who it is. Just back it up. That is the unfortunate victim, as he planted the front end squarely in the wall.
It's Kirk Gilbert, 58.
And the rookie got initiated the hard way.
Laps complete in this 100-lap main event. Bucko Branham the leader, Scott Carpenter second, but for how long? Third, Dennis Demers in the 86. Fourth is Danny Bridges in the 9. Fifth, Chuck Beatty. Sixth, Jim Silly. Seventh, Phil Scott. Eighth, Red Mead. Ninth, Brent Dragon. 10th, Tony Andrews. Those cars are the top 10. Out of turn 4, down to the stripe, green is out. Carpenter looks to make a move on the outside. Looking to move underneath. Dennis Demers for second, and he's got it. Excuse me. Voice is giving out. Bridges looks to move underneath Carpenter for third. He does. Beatty looks to move underneath for fourth. Steve Hayes and I were talking about this during the break, and we said Carpenter stuck on the outside, could go back 5 spots, and he has. Finally able to cut it down into fourth. So he only loses 2 spots. Back to the front. Still Bucko. Branham the leader. Yellow is out. Yellow is out. Brent Dragon stuffed into the wall on the front stretch. Kirk Gilbert involved. Tracy Belrose involved in the 21. Steve Hayes, you see what happened?
Absolutely. Burt Gilbert, the slower automobile, came in contact with a 91 of the very quick Big Bill, Wild Bill Fountain. When they all finished sorting out, the 58 spun, but then went back up across the track, blocked the lane. Brent Dragon, a few other cars got involved. They hit the binders. A couple of them tagged the concrete, but it all started with contact between the 58 and the 91.
47 laps down, and we'll have a restart when we come back. Set for a restart, 46 laps complete. Now we'll see if Dennis Demers can make it work on the outside. Scott Carpenter could not, but now Demers is up there. He has been one of the fastest cars on the track, and now he will challenge Bucko Branham for the lead on this restart. Bridges is third, Carpenter fourth. Down to the stripe. Green is out. Demers hard on the 1 on the outside. Down the backstretch. Branham fights back on the inside. Now it's Demers on the outside. Side by side into turn 3. Out of 4. Seesaw battle for the lead. It's still Bucko Branham. It's Branham. Demers. Bridges looks to move underneath for second. Danny Bridges sticks the nose of that Lumina underneath for the second spot. Demers tucks it back down into third. Bridges now into second. Branham the leader. fourth. Fifth, Carpenter. Sixth, Jim Silly. Seventh is Phil Scott. Halfway. Speedway, another incident in turn 4 involving Kurt Gilbert in the 58. 53 laps complete. Steve Hayes, say something. I'm losing my voice.
Well, what I will say is that Bucko Branham has been absolutely dominant over the first half of the race. But let me remind you, tires will definitely be a factor. Who has really used up their tires? Bucko, of course. Dennis Demers has been charged, and those tires must be getting used. You know what? That number 9 machine that Danny Bridges started near the front hasn't done a whole lot of wild moving back and forth. He may have the better set of tires. This may be Danny's race now.
But you know, I'm not sure Branham has really used up his tires that much, because all race long, Branham has been on the inside of the track, really hasn't had to do a lot of running on the outside. And now Bridges is going to restart this race in the second spot on the outside, and he'll probably go backwards.
You make a good point. Bucko has saved those tires to some degree. Yeah, like you said, though, Danny is in no man's land. You got to figure Dennis is going to be right on Bucko's back bumper. Chuck Beatty also in trouble outside row 2. Looks like Scott Carpenter will be heading up toward the front again.
If this restart is typical to the other restarts we've had, you'll see Branham come out of this restart as the leader, Demers second, and Carpenter third.
And Danny Bridges saying, please let there be an opening for me to get to the inside.
That's right. Well, so far, Bucko Branham has taken all comers and put them aside. Scott Carpenter, Dennis Demers. Now it's your turn, Danny Bridges.
Branham on the inside, Bridges on the outside, Demers and Beatty, Carpenter and Snelling.
53 laps complete, 47 to go in this 100-lap main event.
47 laps to Peter.
Let's watch this restart. Field nicely together out of 4. They come down to the stripe even. Demers into second. Carpenter on the inside to third. Danny Bridges going backwards. Just as we said before the restart, starting on the outside is not the place to be. Branham the leader, Demers second. 3. Dennis Demers to the inside of Bucko Branham. And we have a new leader. On the speedway, right in front of the leaders. "61 laps complete." And on that last restart, Branham had the juice, but right around lap 55, Dennis Demers noticed a little bobble on the 63 out of turn 2. And he stuck his nose underneath, and he is now the leader.
And right now, Bucko Branham, oddly enough, would be more than willing to give up a position because as it stands on this restart, he will be the man outside pole, and unfortunately, it looks like he will be going back a few positions.
Well, I'm not sure if anybody has anything for the 86 car unless that car breaks down. Boy, I'm not sure he's gonna lose this race.
I don't think I should have put my hopes and wishes with the 32 at the start of this race. Earlier I predicted the 86. I think I should have stuck with that. But remember, he had an awful tough time even making this feature, so I didn't think the car would be this strong.
All right, can Bucko Branham hang with the 86 on this restart? Can anybody hang with the 86 over these last 39 laps? That's the question. Demers on the inside, Branham on the outside. Row 2, it's Carpenter and Chuck Beatty. Beatty's driven a great race. Into 3. Out of 4. Down to the stripes. Dennis Demers on the inside. Branham looks to fight on the outside. Yellow is back out. The yellow is out once again. Steve A's not sure what happened. Tim Patinka has a flat left front tire, as he is now stopped on the entrance to pit road.
Well, pits are closed, but he did indeed pull into the pit entrance. You know, Bucko didn't do too bad on that restart, did he, Rob?
Sorry?
Bucko did not do too bad on that restart, stuck right with Dennis.
He was battling with him, no question about it.
He may have found a little traction in that groove.
Now, what has happened to the 40 of Dwayne Lanfear?
He was part of that mess out of 4, I know that, but of course he's missing right now, isn't he? I have no idea.
Continue to show 1-2. Scott Carpenter is very smooth, very consistent on the race, working back in third now.
Tim Patinka on pit road. They're going to try to change that tire, but we will restart the race.
An ominous sight. Leaving the pits right now, a driver who really hoped to have been in this, Rob Wetson, pull out of the pits, and of course our leading rookie really thought he had a shot at picking up the victory in this regional.
Demers and Branham. Carpenter and Bridges. Out of 4, sideways is Branham. Beatty underneath Bridges. This is for 4th. Demers the leader. Branham 2nd, Carpenter 3rd. Beatty 4th. Jim Silly 5th. Danny Bridges back to 6th. 62 down. 63 this time by. For number 86, Dennis Demers. On the speedway. Parked on the infield, the 65 of Steve Craddock. Spinning some mud. They're probably going to need some assistance to get out of the mud. 69, laps complete. Steve Hayes, you can't ask for a much better restart for Bucko Branham because he was able to hold on. Really the only driver who's been able to hold on to the 2nd spot when starting on the outside of the front row.
He's got the right idea. That last restart got a little too loose in the back end. Dirt tracked it around, but he did stay in 2nd. But unfortunately for Bucko, he's going to have to do it all over again on the restart. That's just where he'll be again.
Let's set the field. Demers is 1st. Branham is 2nd. Scott Carpenter 3rd. 4th, Chuck Beatty. 5th, Jim Silly. 6th is Danny Bridges. 7th is Red Mead. Ron Lamell, Steve Hayes, Ron Lamell a lap down?
I was just looking at the order, and I'm wondering that myself. I don't remember him going a lap down, but at one point when Bucko was leading, when a caution was about ready to come out, he got like 5 or 6 cars. Ron may have been one of them.
Ron Lamell is next in order. Then it's Chet DeVarney. How about Chet DeVarney? I don't think he's gone a lap down.
I don't remember Chet going a lap down, and if he is running this far up, it is definitely his best run so far this season here at Airborne.
Same thing with Lance Fernald running in the top 10. And how about Stacy Cahoon in the 88? I believe he might be 1 lap down.
Quite possibly, but Stacy, the only New Hampshire driver to be here for the first 2 shows, so he kind of tried to get this setup already, and he was all right as qualifier, but he's not having as much luck here in the main event. prediction time, Rob. I have a sinking feeling that this time out of 4, look for the 63 of Bucko Branham to go very low to try to make Dennis Demers lift coming out of 4.
Well, with only 31 laps to go, it's almost do or die time right now. Demers on the inside, Branham on the outside. 31 to go in this 100-lap main event. Out of 4, Demers has the jump down to the stripe. Almost even. Branham loose off of 2. He'll hold the second spot. Carpenter third. Fourth, Beatty looks to make a move. Carpenter has lost it. The yellow is out. Steve Hayes, 81 laps in the books, just 19 to go, and Carpenter uncorks it.
Oh, he is out of the car looking it over. I'll tell you what, right about now, the driver of the 68, Jim Silly, needs a change of underwear. He came, I'm telling you, within inches of slamming headfirst into the turn for a wall. I have no idea how he turned the car around and didn't touch the concrete.
There's a good look at Scott Carpenter, last year's track champ, running third at the time, and we were right on Scott Carpenter when the car blew. Disappointed, I'm sure. We talked to him earlier tonight. He had high hopes for his finish this evening, and he has put fluid down on the track, and they'll try to run that in. And we'll take a break with 81 laps in the books and 19 to go. Laps to go. This might be the final shot for Bucko Branham and Dennis DeMers. 81 down, 19 to go. Chuck Beatty, a great run, is in third. Danny Bridges is in fourth. Quick jump for the 86 of DeMers. Down to the stripe. He's way out in front. Beatty into second. Verno is a lap down. Lance Verno is flying, but he's a lap down. Poisson parked up off of the top of turn 2. And now we have 14 laps still remaining. Chuck Beatty, do you have anything for Dennis DeMers?
Yeah, probably a heartfelt congratulations on Dennis's victory, because I don't think Chuck's going to get him either.
How about Lance Verno? He is running in that 31 car, but he's running a lap down.
I was going to say, what he is running, but he's a lap down. That's unfortunate. Lance has a good car. He just ended up a lap down early. Tell you what, Bucko may have had a great idea letting Beatty get by him, but then Ferno got by him, so Bucko's still on the outside.
Let's set the top 10 for you. Dennis DeMers, the leader. Second is Chuck Beatty. Third, Bucko Branham. Fourth, Jim Silly. Fifth, Danny Bridges. Sixth is Ron Lamel. Seventh is Dave Whitcomb. Brent Dragon, I believe, is still in the 8th spot. 9th is Chet DeVarney. 10th is Red Mead. 11th, Stacy Cahoon. 12th, I believe, being scored is Gary Caron. Again, that's not official, but we believe that's the way they're running 86 down. Steve Hayes, I don't think Brent Dragon lost any laps.
He was involved in that Turn 4 incident when Fountain and the 58 car got together. He put it in the wall. I don't know. If he did, he should only be 1 down, but of course 1 down, same as Ferno, out of it at this point.
We'll take a break as they work on Tony Poisson's 42. 26 laps down, 14 laps to go in the late model Sportsman feature. And now Chuck Beatty gets his turn at Dennis Demers as the pace car pulls in on the backstretch. Can Beatty do anything on the outside with Dennis Demers? Lance Furno in the 31 is a lap down. Branham runs third. Branham to the inside of Beatty for second. Lance Furno is a very fast car, but unfortunately he's a lap down. Branham into second. Jim Stilley into third. Clears them for third. Fourth now, Beatty. Ten to go for Dennis Demers. Lap car of Lance Furno. Bucko Branham is second. Jim Silly is third. 9 to go. Fourth, and it could be that car is just going away. Caution! Caution on the speedway. Yellow is out. Doug Orr, Tom Tiller, Dave Whitcomb. Whitcomb was running in the top 10. And we will have a 4-lap shootout. And the latest car to get a shot at Dennis Demers will be Jim Silly in the 68. Steve Hayes, something wrong with it 63, and it might just be what we talked about 50 laps ago, and that is the car is finally going away on Bucko Branham. Tire wear has taken its toll.
I'll tell you what, Bucko is an unfortunate victim of circumstance. When he got passed at the same time up in 3, the 22 machine at Karen spun out. No caution on the track because he was far enough off. Had there been a caution, going back to last lap completed, he would have been starting right behind Dennis Demers.
One advantage for Branham is that he will be starting on the inside on this restart, but I'm not sure he's got anything left.
4 laps to go, though. That's the problem.
That's right. 4 laps to go. Jim Silly should be lining up behind Dennis Demers.
Which means he'll go back?
Well, he should be on the inside.
Oh, no,
He'll
right.
hold second. Lance Furno will line up on the outside of Demers. We're set for a restart with 4 laps to go. Dennis Demers on the inside, lap car, Lance Furno on the outside. Then Jim Silly in second. Down to the stripe, Lance Furno! What's he doing? Demers the leader. Problems up in turn 3. Yellow is out again. Danny Bridges, who was running in the top 5 involved, doesn't look very good for the 9. Michael Knapp, who was running in the top 15 involved. And when that yellow was thrown, Jim Silly did not see it. And in turn 2, you did not see it on camera, he ran right into the rear end of the 86 of Dennis Demers.
Well, Dennis still driving. Looks like the 86 is physically fine, but probably did more damage to Jim Silly than it did to Dennis Demers.
Yeah, you can see the hood on the 68 bobbing around. How about Lance Furno? I'm not sure if that's a case of Lance Furno having a superior car, or if Dennis Demers just said, look, I'm not going to mess with that lap car, go ahead.
Dennis let him go, I'm pretty sure. 4 to go, there's no way Furno is going to come from the back to beat him. And that way he had that one car trying to lap himself, not to worry about now. It also, in case you're wondering, it's going to force his chief competitor, Jim Silly, to the outside groove.
Lance Furno has made up a lap. He's been one of the few cars, probably the only car, who's been able to do that.
And if this was, say, lap 80 or so, I'd say, yeah, give him an outside
He's
chance.
got a chance. But not with 4 to go.
Not unless we have a multi-car pilot that takes out half the field and he's not one.
If 20 cars stick it into the wall here, then he's got a shot. But I don't
Furno's
think so.
my pick.
Yellow is out. Brent Dragon off of turn 3. 4 laps to go, and we'll take a break. Set for a restart with 4 laps to go. Dennis Demers is the leader. Second is Jim Silly. Third is Chuck Beatty. Fourth, Bucko Branham. Fifth, Red Mead. Sixth, Stacy Cahoon. Seventh is the 12 of Chet DeVarney. We believe Joe Thomas is a lap down, put down a lap early. Phil Scott running 8th. And then it goes 9th, way back. We believe to Dave Whitcomb in the 25. But let's go to the front. 4 to go. And let's watch the restart. Park up in turn 2. Steve Hayes, any idea what happened?
Well, there's a streak along the track where Danny went. He was the only car to go off to, so I think he lost some because that fluid had to come from the 9 machine.
And this will take some time as they'll have to put some speedy dry down on the track as the beginning of that trail of fluid is in the racing groove, so this could take some time to clear up. Still 3 laps to go. And Dennis Demers with a good jump on that last restart, Steve.
Well, that's nothing new. Dennis has really had the number of all his competitors so far tonight. You know, it's a situation, I don't know if Jim Silly could get the job done. Chuck Beatty, he had a shot at Dennis. He couldn't do it. But hey, how about the guy running fifth, the 1992 Riverside Track champ, Stacy Cahoon?
Well, he really has to be in a good position because he's going to have 2 events coming up at his track. Same thing for Chuck Beatty, the track champion at Thunder Road, defending champion, who has run very well here in the top 3. And if he can do this well here at Airborne on the wide half-mile track, he's going to do very well on the tight bull ring.
Well, let's not forget the guy sitting second outside pole, Jim Silly, regular Thunder Road. He too last year had a few races at Riverside.
Steve, it almost appears to me on some of these restarts that cars like Silly and Beatty and Branham right now, I think they're more or less racing for second, and it looks to me like Jim Silly is really worried about getting that car down in front of Chuck Beatty and hanging on to the second spot.
Oh, I agree, no doubt about it. Everyone right now thinks the best they're going to do is second, with the exception of Demers. I'll tell you though, 3 to go. Chances are you won't see another caution. If I'm Silly, I throw caution to the wind. I try to crowd Demers a little bit, make him lift, because if you get in front of him, that's going to force Dennis to move high, and I don't know if Dennis can pass Jim.
Okay, we're set for the restart. 97 laps complete, 3 to go. The names and faces and cars are pretty much the same. They've been up to the front all race long. Dennis Demers, Jim Silly, Chuck Beatty, and Bucko Branham. Very slow pace set by Demers. Now he vaults into turn 3. Can Silly hang with him? Side by side, down to the stripe. A good restart for Jim Silly. Chuck Beatty moves underneath for second. Bucko Branham will look to move underneath and try to get third. Silly stuck on the outside. 2 to go for Dennis Demers. Branham moves underneath Silly for third. White flag will fly for Dennis Demers.
There is trouble at 4, fluid all over turn 4. Demers of the leader, don't know it. This could get interesting.
What happened? Oh my God! What happened?
I think Bucko Branham is second. They came out of 4 to get the white. There was someone who exploded an engine. There was fluid all over the track. The leaders had no idea. Didn't mean to cut in on you there, Robbie. But these leaders came up to a condition on a turn in the last lap, the last turn, and the track was flooded. How do you explain this one to all the guys who came in and said, where was the yellow? Bucko was second, no doubt about it.
Ron Lamell Jr. backed down right in front of the leaders. And Stacy Cahoon and Red Mead both got a piece of him.
Now, we should tell you, if you don't know who Ron Lamell Jr. is, he is not a rookie. I mean, let's admit it, Rob. Ron Lamell Jr. has driven some very big races in his career.
You better believe it.
You do not do that, and I am surprised that Lamell even attempted it. Well, big races. How about Busch Grand National North? That's pretty big.
That's big enough. Dennis Demers, you think he's happy in the 86? Dennis has a pro stock, and you know he's on his way to Oxford.
Oh, Dennis was going to Oxford anyway. He was there for the ACT Opener this year, a great finish. Let's remember, last year, as a late model competitor, Dennis not only qualified for the 250, he had a very good finish. And he may be on the pole for the 94 version of the 250 a little later this season.
Third to Chuck Beatty. Second, Bucko Branham. And the winner, Dennis Demers in the 86. In a finish that they'll be talking about on the way home tonight. And I'll have to replay several times to try to figure out what happened.
Airborne always leads to some sort of excitement. That was as exciting as it could get. I didn't mean to cut in on Robbie, but I knew he did not see what happened at 4, and I knew these leaders certainly didn't know what happened.
Well, how about Brennan making a pass on the outside, going around Ron Lamel, right up against the wall.
Bucko Branham showed what years of experience will do. He knew those cars were going to the inside. He put his foot in the metal, figured I'm going to finish second, or I'm going to put this thing in a basket and bring it home.
Well, there's Bucko down in victory lane. He finishes second. And there's the winner, 86 of Dennis Demers, and we've seen a heck of a race tonight at Airborne in this 100-lap main event. And just think, there'll be another one in June, Steve Hayes.
Oh, yes, indeed. But that one won't be an Oxford qualifier, just a regular regional.
Stay tuned. One more event coming up.
I'll tell you what, 25th place to win this one, you need to work tonight.
Street Stock Speedway. Street Stocks are on the Speedway. Boy, it's been a late night. Street Stocks are out on the track. 15 laps, the expected distance. Steve Hayes, 27 cars on the track. Have fun.
Oh, boy. Just what I need after a very exciting 100. They're going to bring out the caution. Sure, why not? These guys don't take much time.
Well, they know you needed a chance to set the field for the fans at home.
I have to know him first. Starting out the pole of the blue 45, Lloyd Mortis. He is joined by the 82 of Roy Ebersol. In row 2, the 75 of Charles Farnsworth, and the 01 machine piloted by Keith Nolan. They get the green flag for next time around. We hope to get this thing underway. Row 3, 76 Rick Hart, the 3 of Dennis Griffin. A couple of cars you may want to keep an ear and an eye out for. The 29 of Brian Pugh, who won the opening event, a little deep in the pack, but not as deep as the 77 of Rick Freye and the 92 of Dan Gibbs. One machine you won't hear me announcing, the 91 of Sean Fowden, second in points, but he cooked the engine in practice. Mortis and Ebersol hopefully will pace them to the line. 27 cars, 15 laps, and we have an established leaders that come out of 4 by some 4 or 5 car lengths. It's the 82 of Roy Ebersol. Farnsworth into second. Here they go, 3 wide, maybe 4 or 5 when they're all done. Pole setter Lloyd Mortis way to the outside, block the 01 of Nolan. Nolan had to hit the brakes. Uh-oh, a 4 wide move that almost had a car in trouble. Couldn't even, that was a 99 at Carey that made a daring move. Black flag comes out to the leader, the 82 of Roy Ebersol. Why not? Apparently they say Roy jumped the start. He did, but they seem to have let it go earlier. Ebersol, your leader is not your leader. Your leader is going to be the 72 LaGrave going 4 wide into 3. Hang on. Yeah, there he goes. Farnsworth gets a piece of him. Farnsworth and Ebersol going grazing out of 4. Your leader is the 5 of Keith Benoit, a popular name to say the least. Dan Benoit, Steve Benoit. There's always a Benoit on the track, it seems. The field behind the lead pack spreading out. Again, 3-4 wide. Hey, one car on the move, the 81 of Bob Wells. Wells, come alive with a black 81 machine. Black flag to the 82 of Roy Ebersol again. You know, if I'm leading a race, I don't want to pit either. Nolan is your leader with the 5. Behind him, the 76 of Hart and the 61 of Ralph Doss Jr. side by side. Here comes Dave Parent with the orange 37 of the black Earnhardt 3 of Dennis Griffin. Believe it or not, I'm not even looking at a driver roster. I don't even know how I remember them. 4 wide out of 4. Hart and Provost, Hart and the 37 machine are, while they were tangled up, they separated themselves. Your leader is the 61 of Ralph Doss Jr. He won his qualifier. He's trying to go 2 for 2. Griffin is second, followed by the 5 Carl Benoit and the 29 of Brian Pugh. Brian Pugh gets to the inside, takes third. Last week I mentioned that Brian Pugh is driving with Rockin' Ron Klein's fire suit. Well, he may not be able to use it in a couple of weeks. I heard right from Rockin' Ron himself that at the opener in Thunder Road in a couple of weeks, Ron Klein will be in a street stock competing. That is something a lot of fans will love to see. Rockin' Ron, a assistant tech inspector here, doesn't have to work Thunder Road, so he thought he'd do some driving. 2 rubble up in one of the cars involved, Curtis LaGrave. There was a big crunch which drew my attention. It was LaGrave sideways with the car hung on to his left side. Up front, a good battle for the lead, but meanwhile the 08 machine is faced to the right. He gets it turned around. Your leader is the 61 of Ralph Doss Jr. The black 3 of Dennis Griffith runs second. Third to the 77 of Rick Freya. Where did Rick come from? I said to watch him, but I guess I wasn't even watching him. He's up to third. I never even saw him got there. Brian Pugh runs fourth. Dave Parrott and the 23 machine of Joe Becker battling out for fourth and fifth. Here they come out of 4. Griffith takes the lead from Doss. Meanwhile, Rick Frenier hoping to get by both of them to pick up the victory. Oh, Corey Trombley came out of 4 with a 66, had it sideways in front of the field, and somehow straightened it out. Trouble up in 1. The 76 of Rick Hart is in the racing group and not moving. And that's why the caution comes out, which will bunch up the field. Just with these guys, need more cars to get a piece of. And Rob, I know you're having a ball trying to film this one.
Where am I supposed to shoot? That's the only question.
Oh, pick a spot, set the camera, because I guarantee there'll be some action in whatever part of the track you're aiming at. When we get restarted, it will be the 3 of Dennis Griffith, your leader. And you know, Rob, we noticed this last week. If you ever come to the track, you look in the pits, there's some beautiful haulers, the late model guys especially. There's this beautiful black, very long hauler that pulls into the pits, and we were expecting a late model to pull out of there. It was that number 3 street stock. I kid you not.
It's that hauler right there with the bright light on the rear end. Very nice trailer.
And a lot of
what do
jealous,
they take out of there? A street stock.
And a lot of jealous late model competitors saying, I want it.
And Rick Brendan, part of the 77 on third. Feature winner is week number 1.
Street stock feature. 9 laps complete. Again, we struggle with the English language. It's very late. 6 laps to go. Steve Hayes.
9 down, 6 to go in the Mini Maniac main event. While we have a chance, good time to tell you that next week, Plattsburgh Police Dare Night here at the Speedway, regular event for the stocks, Tigers, and late models. Griffith and Doss send them to the green. Rick Frenier pushing the leader along. Dave Manning with a 24 has pulled off a turn 2. Almost got, Dave Parrott comes in contact with a 5, turns it around. Farnsworth gets involved. Several cars, and a car comes back across 2, and he is T-bowed by Farnsworth. The 1 car, Nolan in the 01. A major problem there as a couple of guys thought they had cleared the difficulties, but more difficulties arose in front of them. So guess what, Rob? We get to line them up again.
Steve, why don't we take this opportunity to just recap the night's activities.
Good idea, since this may take about a half hour.
To untangle. First feature to hit the Speedway tonight was the Flying Tiger feature, and of course, pulling away the victory, a very popular victory with the crowd here this evening, the 37 of Eldred Hutchins, and what was A very exciting feature as Hutchins with a late race move to get to the top spot. And again, very popular for the Lewis, New York driver. A lot of fans very happy that Eldred Hutchins takes away the victory.
I walked in the pit store in intermission, congratulated Eldred on a terrific run, and also had a chance to talk just a minute with third-place competitor Jimmy Young about that move that the Zero Mark Barnier put on him. He said, "Hey, what can I say? I thought I was dreaming. I didn't believe he got to the inside of me." Then, of course, with the late model Sportsman, that one they're going to talk about forever. First half of the race dominated by Bucko. Second half dominated by the eventual race winner, the 86 of Dennis Demers, but in an unbelievable finish after 100 laps of green flag action, a couple of cars in trouble in four, one dumping fluid all over. The leaders come up on it, and Bucko Branham edged out the 54 machine of Chuck Beatty for the second spot. And we can't tell you what's going to happen to the street stocks because there's still 6 laps left, so someone a lap down may win it.
Going back to the Flying Tigers, there was some controversy apparently in the pits after the race. Some of the racers were unhappy with some of the tactics of certain cars on the track, and certainly we hope that will cease.
No names mentioned. Had 2 or 3 of them approach me about a problem, all dealing with the same car. I won't mention who it is, but I think you could guess who I'm talking about.
And next week, be a regular show for the Flying Tigers, this class, the Street Stocks and the Late Model Sportsman. Very interesting that some of the regular runners in the Late Model Sportsman did not choose to participate in this special non-point counting event this evening, the Sunoco Regional Series. Some of the names that come to mind: Glenn Wright, Jim Barton, Ricky LeQuire from Plattsburgh. Those 3 drivers who have been here regularly the first couple of weeks, not here tonight, and they apparently decided not to take part in the big race.
I cannot explain why Barton wouldn't be here. He's a top name for sure. Nothing against Ricky and Glenn. Actually, Glenn Wright was here in attendance, just didn't bring the 48 car with him. I kind of thought Glenn may bring the car and have someone else drive it, kind of like the Rodney Wheat situation. Of course, the 6 car was supposed to be piloted by Beaver Dragon, but when Brent had trouble, Beaver gave up the spot, and Brent had a fine run with that number 6 car.
Still working on some of the street stock cars in the infield.
You thought I was kidding when I say it might take a half hour, weren't you?
Well, it's pretty late right now. It is 2 minutes away from being Sunday morning, no longer Saturday night.
Well, let's just say we started the show just a couple of minutes after 7. We'll be leaving Sunday morning for sure.
Any other thoughts before we get back to the street stock race?
Besides the fact that it's been a long night, no. The regional series, we should mention, is 2 races at each of the 3 tracks that comprise the division here at Airborne, Riverside, and Thunder Road. So any of those guys who finished well tonight really have to go to the T-Road and Riverside shows. And, you know, for $20,000 to win this region, that's enough incentive for me.
And you got to think some of the advantage really shifts now to the drivers like Chuck Beatty, who finished 3rd. Stacy Cahoon had a good finish. Some of those drivers who run regularly now at Riverside and Thunder Road, who will definitely have an advantage on those tight tracks over some of the Airborne regulars like Bucko Branham, like Dennis Demers. Well, Dennis Demers no longer regular, but he used to be.
Oh, no doubt about it. Bucko with a fine second-place finish, but when he hits, maybe not Thunder Road, I think he was there a couple of times, but when he hits Riverside, he's going to be in the same predicament that guys who invaded tonight were, like Jay Parentoni. He watched Parentoni at Thunder Road. He runs better than you saw tonight. Or how about Potter, a regular Riverside competitor? Randy Potter's a great runner. You just couldn't prove it tonight.
On the other hand, look at Stacy Cahoon, a regular Riverside driver. And you don't think some track time pays off. Spent the first 2 weeks here at Airborne. He was here on opening day as well as last week's regular program. And Randy Potter with a top 10 finish, or excuse me, Stacy Cahoon with a top 10 finish. And I think he's going to attribute a lot of that to the track time which he had here the last couple of weeks.
You said that he spent the first couple of weeks here. He also spent it as a back marker. He was not competitive at all those first 2 weeks. So he definitely got what he needed and experienced those first couple of weeks, got the setup he wanted. We know it's in the qualifier. This was not the same setup we thought. He was running much better. He proved it in the main event.
All right, when we come back to MotorSports Magazine, we will have a restart with 9 laps complete.
getting set for what we hope will be the final restart in the final 6 laps of this 15-lap main event for the Mini Maniacs. Dennis Griffin and Ralph Doss Jr. set the pace, we hope. Row 2, these are guys you better watch. The 77 of Rick Frenier and the 29 of Brian Pugh. Brian trying to win his second event of the year. Green flag is, and again, that 61 machine of Ralph Doss Jr. finds some power. Boy, that car's come alive tonight. Unfortunately, it goes a bit wide. The handling went away, but here comes Frenier with a 77. And hey, on the restart, Dan Gibbs was 9th. In less than a lap, he's passed 5 cars and is now 4th. Something wrong with the Ryan Pugh 29. All kinds of troubles. He lost power, getting past to the left, getting past to the right. Now it looks like he's got it back underway. Up front. Change for second, maybe. Ralph Doss with a 61. Now Rick Frenier to the inside. Doss opens the door. Frenier trying to slide in the opening, cannot do so. Everybody chasing the black number 3 Dale Earnhardt lookalike piloted by Dennis Griffin. Frenier and Gibbs exchange a little sheet metal, but they straighten it out. 5th is the 37 of Dave Parent, but he has a host of guys chasing him as the top 4 have separated themselves a bit now. It is Griffin, followed by side-by-side battle, no longer side-by-side. Frenier takes second from Doss. That will leave the 92 of points leader Dan Gibbs running 4th. Coming in, Gibbs was your points leader. Sean Fountain was 2nd. And Rick Frenier was 3rd. Of course, everybody making up points on Sean tonight. 2 to go for Griffin. Terry Provost, Dave Perrin turns the 37 around on the front stretch and quickly refires it to avoid becoming a casualty. Moortown, Vermont's Dennis Griffin has 1 lap to go. He has one of the quickest cars in this division, Rick Frenier giving chase. Those 2 have pulled away from Doss and Gibbs. It is strictly the Griffin-Frenier show for the last half lap. Frenier does not appear to be close enough, but he dives to the inside and loses momentum. The victory will go to Moortown, Vermont, Dennis Griffin. 2nd to Rick Frenier, 3rd to the guy who led the points coming in, the orange and white 92 of Dan Gibbs. 4th to Ralph Doss Jr. 5th to the 81 of Bob Wells. And Rob, we're finally done.
For Steve Hayes, this is Rob Knowles. We thank you for joining us, and we hope you've enjoyed tonight's racing action from Airborne. And we look forward to seeing you next week, right back here at Airborne, as we present the racing card, the Plattsburgh Police Dare Racing Program. Once again, for Steve Hayes, I'm Rob Knowles. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night, everyone.